Okay, so yesterday we saw OXV The Manual. It was my second viewing. I watched it online and I just had to see it in the cinema.
And it was a
I
must.
brought you guys along.
Mm-hmm. It was a must. It was a very whimsical time.
Yes, directed by Darren Paul Fisher. So, OXV The Manual is the story of two young people that obviously have some sort of connection when they're extremely young. The movie's set in a different world where people have frequencies. So, people with frequencies that are extremely different, like someone that has an extremely low frequency and someone that has an extremely high frequency, can't be around each other.
Think of them as like kind of magnets, like
yeah, they're
A
like
and
repulsing
B.
each other.
We're going back into the battery section. A and B. If you have a high frequency, in this case, one of our main characters,
Marie,
she has like 129,
127, something like that.
Something like that, in the 120s. And so that makes her really high. Actually, that's as high as it goes. So
she's a prodigy.
she's a prodigy. She's extremely smart, very pretty. Gets really good luck. She goes to a store. They ran out of the earrings she wanted to buy, but for some reason they found an extra pair and she gets it anyways, so she always gets what she wants, basically. This is the type of like mythology you have of this storytelling, so you have to kind of go with it, and film allows you to go with it because it is visually so interesting. You just want to go along with like whatever they're going to tell you. So like what happens on the other side of the frequency, the ultra low.
Zach,
that's
who
our
has
other character.
-7 frequency.
Yeah.
He has extremely bad luck. Anything bad that's going to happen is going to happen to him. Especially when him and Marie are close to each other. They can interact for a minute every year, and Marie starts doing some tests. Extremely bad things happen to Zach every time they meet.
Within every minute or so, right?
Yeah.
To the extent where it starts raining.
Yeah,
Only a
that's the
hand.
first shot. That's like the first time they meet, and they're like literally standing in front of each other in the backyard or like wherever, clouds gathering up overhead, and Marie, she has the sun shining on him, but like Zach there, he's getting like rained on like hardcore, and so like that's basically showing which part of the spectrum of frequency they are, and that one scene alone like, brings you back into like Terry Gilliam sort of territory, like a fantasy of quirky satire.
It still has like its own genre. It's
It
like
does.
Sci-fi romance.
I really would say it's a fantasy, because with fantasy you could like put any sort of element in there. You could put a science fiction element or even a horror element in there. This to me is like a fantasy rom-com, and there's a little bit of elements of philosophical. I think like all fantasies kind of show either fairy tale or philosophical notions. A lot of like philosophical notions, but philosophy that is kind of built within this own universe, and it reflects our own universe. But it is sort of, I wouldn't say a tragic love story, but more of an unfortunate love story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And believe me, there's more that happens in here. There's...
Yeah, if any little thing we say, I feel like it gives away. Like,
you're gonna give
I
away.
could say one word and I'm like, oh, that ruins it for people,
Well, I think we have to give a selling point, because I think this movie, for those who want to have that weird, whimsical... I was going to mention Brazil, but Brazil is really kind of dark if you think
Anyone
of it.
that liked The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or like
Yes.
500 Days of Summer, like...
It's a date film for science students and people who like to study art. Not for your conventional little, he meets her and she meets him and then he takes a shit on her chest or something like that. No, this is like...
Well, this is...
I totally would recommend this movie for those who want a different experience, but it's not dark and brooding. I'm just sort of thinking of The Immaculate Conception, a little Dizzle, because it's kind of an out there movie,
it's
too.
a
Quirky, weird ideas. It's a movie bubbling over with ideas. The more you see it, you'll kind of like... It's like a snack that you kind of want to just eat more of it. Yeah. Like you're never satisfied. And I don't want to give a severed head, because I think severed head is the other spectrum of that frequency. I think we should give it another sort of rating.
A severed torso, if you will.
A cut-off donut. No.
I give it a frequency.
I give it a frequency.
I give it a high frequency.
127 frequency. But those who are in the middle of the frequency are the most balanced. So I give it an absolute balance. That confuses anybody who wants to see the movie just as much as anybody who's enjoyed the movie. So you'll be whimsically confused.
No, but seriously, check it out. It's doing the festival circuit, and it was its world premiere at Fantasia. So really look for it. It needs word of mouth. So give it a look. Find it.
Remember the letters, because I can't.
And go and watch it.
Remember the letters.
OXV The Manual.
Fantasia Tour!